come back to Cat's Corner through this like fun virtual space.
We're lucky to have you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so we're going live on Facebook now. It's just Carl, whose face will be projected to the world. So you can leave your videos on. And if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and I'll try to copy over any questions that land over on Facebook Internet lands.
Cool, cool. All right, so um, we're gonna do a little bit of just warming up, see and do. I'm gonna face the camera because otherwise I feel like he'll be super confused. Uh, so feel free to like be on the same side or be mirrored. Um, but I'm gonna throw on a little tune.
Yeah, feel free
Um,
to turn around sometimes. It's easier to
yeah,
see from the back, but it's very lonely to teach with your back to the internet.
yeah. Occasionally you might see one of my two dogs run through the. They might distract me and like get in my way because they like to be in the way. But uh, okay, cool. Oh, legs. Oh yeah. This is Jonathan Stout. Pause music. All right. So, um, we're going to do what I'm calling sort of a course in halves. So we're going to take some 4-count steps, smash them together, so we get, 8 counts together, and we're going to start with a little sort of basic shim sham drags. So we're going to start whichever leg, right leg, left leg. We're gonna go drag, drag, and then we're gonna fall off the off the. I have stolen these. Just attribution moment. I have stolen these from my partner, Nicole. They're really great. So we have a 1, 2, 3, ba, ba, ba. Drag, drag, fall off the. There's a little chat window. I should click on that. Gating. Nicole, okay. Ba, ba, fall off the. Ba, ba, fall off the. Ba, ba, fall off the. So the nice thing about this step is that it's switching sides back and forth. And so we start with our drags. Ba, 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 trick, don't put your weight down when you do that. So you do the 2 drags, drag, drag. Your weight's still on this standing leg, so you can fall, drag, drag, free leg, drag, drag, free leg, drag, drag, free leg. Let's do this a bit with some music just to feel it to the rhythm. It starts on our 8 with that drag. I'm going to get amazingly sweaty. I apologize already. So, the thing I like about this step is it lets us experiment with 2 things we're probably really comfortable with. Sort of those shim-sham drags and that fall off the log. So as you could see before, I can make them big, I can make them small, I could give them a bit of accent, and I could use them to move around. And so I'm going to put the song, another song back on, and I want you to like in your own space, find how you can move around a bit more with them. Try not to stay in one spot all the time. You can choose, hey, right now I'm going to stay here, and then I'm going to move. But make it a choice. No, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, he'll keep trying to turn around continuously. So, let's go back to some Rose Room. Cool. Are there any questions on those two pieces coming together? Cool. There are, poke me. One thing I would suggest is when you do this step, make sure you have your weight really defined on what foot you're on. It's really easy when we're doing drags, particularly, but even sometimes in our fall off the log. We can muddle our footwork, and so instead I want really clear steps in there. And with our drags, this foot is free, you can do whatever. So then when we combine them, it's easy to make the transition. Fall off the step. Fall off the step. Cool. So, let's jump on to the next one. And the next one is, let me check my fancy notes. A little combination of some Charleston and some boogie drops. So we're gonna do double kicks first just to warm it up, and then we'll add the boogie drops, or we'll review the boogie drops and then we'll put them together. So our double kicks, pretty straightforward. Start with either leg. We're gonna go kick, kick, switch, kick, kick, switch. And so it has this double, double, double. let's do our boogie drops now. So our boogie drops, start with our weight on our left. We're gonna go step, tap, tap, drop. Tap, tap, drop. Tap, tap, drop. Toe, heel, drop. Boom, boom, bop. Boom, boom, bop. Boom, boom, bop. Boom, boom, bop. Throw some music on. We'll do 4/8 of one, 4/8 of the other, just to get comfy. All right, let's put those two together. So we're gonna do double kicks on one side and then a boogie drop to the other side. So I'll show that front, back, both sides, and then we can try it all together with music. So we have double kick, boogie drop, double kick, boogie drop, double kick, drop, double kick, boogie drop. To the front, double kick, boogie drop, full kick, boogie drop, full kick. Boom, bop, boom, bop, bop, boom, bop, boom, bop, bop. Bop, bop, boom, bop, down, kick, kick, boogie, down, up, up. This is the dog. All right, let's do that with some music, putting those two pieces together. Come on, Jazz. So similar to our first ones with the drags fall off the log, we can make them big. I'll show you that. Or small. And so we have a lot of dynamic range, even with two simple movements that we've put together. And so we can make one half big, one half small, both big, both small, so on and so forth. So, I need a little drink of water. Yeah, no. Canceled my workout today, you know. So what we're gonna do that last one or the one before it. I want you to just think about, pick which one you want and start them small and make them bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as we think about the dynamic of the movement. And we'll pump it up a little bit. This one is Jumpin' with Symphony Sid by the Brooks Prumo Orchestra. Check out his album. Get those legs working. Oh, I haven't danced in a while. This is great. Thank you, Megan, for dragging me out to do this. It's a different kind of activity than I'm used to lately.
I was impressed that you were choosing the up-tempo songs, and I was like, oh, I should do more up-tempo songs. And then I realized that the difference is I usually let this, like, I just keep dancing up that whole song. Yes, I understand. Breaks needed when you start at that tempo. Yep.
All right, so I've got a couple more ideas in here, but I want us to think about the sort of concept we've got going on here. So a lot of jazz, you know, we structure in eights for a step. Some of it's in fours, some of it's a little flexible. But I think, you know, I always think about this idea of like some of these things are building blocks, like little Lego pieces. And once I have, you know, a decent little set, I can actually make really sort of dynamic and interesting shapes when I start like putting different pieces together. And so I remember the first time I saw this one, which was and I was just like, wait, what? And it just sort of like blew my mind. And I was like, I know those steps, but it didn't occur to me at the time to like put them together in that way. And I think that's one of the great things about jazz is that we have these structures that are really, you know, sort of shared across as a vocabulary. But what's sort of unique is how we put them together. And so I would highly recommend like take some jazz steps you know outside of this time and think about how you can put them together. That's sort of what this class is just like some ones that I put together to shake it up. Oh, and also a lot of leg work apparently. Okay. This next one sort of puts together, I don't really know the names for the first step, but the other one is just sort of a reverse lock turn. So let's start with that. So here, lock, turn, up, lock, turn. And so we can get all the way around. Hoop, up, hoop, up. And we can go the same way or different ways. Hoop, up, unravel, hoop, up, unravel, cross, turn, cross, turn. So that's half of it. The other half is this little like rhythm-y thing where I'm gonna go 8, 2, 8, 1, 2, 3. Ba, 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 ba. So we take that second step we just did, do 4 counts of it, put the little lock in the end, it looks like this. And so the steps blur together a little bit because of the entrance of the lock turn. Oh, jeez. So, stop talking and do music. So, on its top level, a very straightforward step. But I think the fun thing that's interesting is it's mostly a rhythm step. I think about it very much as a series of rhythms. So I'm thinking, here, let me do maybe camera adjustment towards the feet. Ba, 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 ba. This is without the turn. So the fun thing about the rhythm step is that we can push and pull it a little bit. And this is really what I think is fun with this step, is that we can give it a little bit of sort of flair or flex. Personal preference, I think it's actually a choice. So doing the turn, stepping versus swiveling. Oh, like doing the step or doing a single foot turn? Is that the question, Gregory? Cool. Okay, yeah, so let me show that maybe a little bit farther out so you can see my whole body. Mentally. So I think about it as a single turn, because if I run through it, if I'm going I already have 2 runs at the end. And so I want to think about that rhythm, and I want to think about the lock turn, where I'm doing this and turning out of it. And I want to be on 1 foot. So if I face away and I do and I do a run, I go run. I have another run after that to change it up, or to like change feet. Since I've done 2 already, it's a different rhythm, and I prefer that spin, bop, bop, then 2, bop, 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 bop. I hope that answers your question. So, this is a wiggly mic. Up. So again, we want wah wah ba 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 hoo wah 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 ba ba wah wah ba 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 wah wah. So I think that loft of the turn gives it a little bit of a breathing moment, both for myself, but also for the people watching it, because we want to invite people in and not just feel like it's running past them a bit. So we give them that like nice breath of ba boo ba boo ba wah wah ba boo ba boo ba wah wah in that rhythm. So let's do it with some music. I'll do the slower tune. So the lock turn, you can do the lock turn a variety of ways. So a traditional lock turn, I guess, would be here and just like crossing, so your weight is sort of split, and then you unwind. And when I unwind, I tend to settle back on my heels a little bit, which makes it look like I'm turning on my heels. If I'm doing this reverse one, I will shift this onto my heel, but it doesn't really matter that much. So here, turn, heel goes down, lets me finish that turn out. If you have slightly slidey shoes, you can also do it fully flat-footed. These are just sort of rubber bottomed shoes on a relatively smooth floor, so it's easy for me to like slide around a bit, but not super smooth. So when I do that reverse lock, I have that little hop step, unwind, leaves me on my left, bop, 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 hop, run, hop, 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 wop, 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 turn, bop, bop, lets me switch, bop, 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 wop, wop, bop, bop, run, run. So I think it's mostly like, don't concern yourself too much with the turn. I would say, think about just getting around, whether that's on your heels, on the balls of your feet, or somewhere in between. It's mostly behind, turn, and let it just sort of unravel your legs. Same way if you're going front. Does that help, Mary? I hope so. My hair's totally gone off now. Cool. Yeah, I don't think it matters that much how you turn here. And I think the goal is to like get around in a certain time. There's like a personal preference I have for doing it as a turn, or like a spin without steps versus a turn with steps. But it also doesn't really matter too much as long as you're ending with your weight in the right place, I think. And I think that's a lot of the dance is like, as long as we sort of get to where we want to go and we're in control of our bodies and we're dancing through it, I think we're in a pretty good place. So I want us to review the 3 things we've done so far so we don't just like lose them outside of our brain. We'll do them for 6/8 each and then move on to the next one. So the first one was our drags. Fall off the log, drag, drag, fall off the log, drag. Our second one was these double kicks with the boogie drops. Kick, kick, boogie, drop, kick, kick, boogie, drop, kick, kick, boogie, drop, kick, kick, boogie, drop. And our last one was these little paddles. That's what they're called, paddles, with that lock turn. Paddle, 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 run, run, paddle, 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 run, run, paddle, 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 run, run, paddle, paddle. So we'll do 6/8 of each, probably twice or 3 times through, depending on the song and how good I am at counting music. And then we'll do it in shorter chunks after a little breather. So, take a little breath, tie back your hair, it's getting in your face, drink some water. Die slowly by drinking water down the wrong pipe. Yeah, so fun thing about the rhythm step is whether we're starting on the 8 or the 1, sort of changes the feel to it. Starting on the 8 gives us this little space between the runs. Whereas if we start on the 1, we're going to cut that space away and put the space at the end. Or we would push everything off 1. So let's do it same sort of sequence, but we're going to do 2 8s of each. And then we'll wait a phrase, because that transition from the paddles back into the drags, super tough. So we'll do a phrase, chill, do a phrase. Here we go. This is Sweets. That is tougher than I thought it was, that transition from the boogie drop into the paddles. Tough little bit. So let's go back to 6s of each, 6 8s of each, and we'll bump up the tempo a little bit to get that last little bit of sweat out of our bodies before we go. Stretch, relax, enjoy the rest of our evenings.
Everybody needs practicing the art of love. Had 20 years practicing, locked up of
All right. Let's take any last questions before we dance it out. Sweaty and good. Can't see through my glasses. It's cool. So I challenge you all to find 2 moves, put them together, see if they work. Sometimes they don't. That's totally fine. Like, sometimes you're just like, this and this, not gonna happen. Sometimes they really match up. So one that I was sort of feeling that I didn't do was doing that lock turn into a boogie drop. So this is one maybe you can take home, put in your pocket, and try it after this. Is we have little boogie drop. So we do our little and lock. Ba, 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 So that's one that I was just sort of like came to me as I was doing our little paddles with locks, because we had just done those boogie drops, and it was like, oh, these 2 could go together. It might take a little time of like massaging, but let's dance it out for the rest. Just have fun, bop around, let it out. One whole last song. Yeah. This is Michael Gamble, Crazy About Lester. I love Lester Young. Close out with that. It's a little tribute. Woo!
Well done. Woohoo!
Thank you everyone for tuning in and enjoying this sweaty Zoom time with me. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate coming back to cats even from afar.
If anyone wants to make a contribution to Cat's Corner classes, you can do that on our website. There's a couple of options there. And now that I've given you that very important information, I will take us off Facebook so you can turn on your videos and say hi to each other.